welcome to another episode of Brooklyn's World. In this episode, I'll just be giving a bit of a commentary about part of the time that I spent in hospital for SMAS and being there for the specialist trying to figure out what to do with me. Now, spoiler alert, if you can't tell, I have a little bit of a different look at the moment. So by the end of this two-part video, you will see that I end up with a nasogastric J tube. So here I am, day one, and I have just been admitted into the hospital, and it has been 4.5 hours, and I have just seen the doctor. Now, basically, because it is now 7:45 at night, nothing will be happening at all tonight, which I wasn't really expecting anything to anyway. So the doctor that saw me today and my specialist are just going to have a chat tomorrow and then decide what direction to go from there. So pretty much just for now, I just need to hang around and be bored, and yeah, we'll see what happens tomorrow. So it's 3 AM on my first night here and I can't sleep. So I asked the nurse for some tea and some biscuits, and while she was at that, I had to get weighed, and then I had to start a malnutrition chart, which means everything now that I eat and drink needs to be recorded on this chart. So that's all. Still waiting for the doctors and specialists to come and see me when it's daylight. Here is the start of day 2, and I may or may not have already run away from the hospital and gone across the road to the supermarket. This day started out really stressful because early in the morning I realised that the charger that I'd bought with me was not working. So my iPad and my iPhone were both on 5% charge. I started freaking out because I knew that I would not be able to survive this hospital visit without having some form of communication and entertainment while I was there. So the only solution I could think of was to escape from the hospital. Totally not allowed to do that, and I ran across the road to go and buy another one. So here I am, day 2, still in the hospital, and I'm in exactly the same position as I was when I got here yesterday. I've had 3 gastroenterologists come and see me and examine me, and they were just going to go and speak to my gastroenterologist, and then whatever it is they decide, whenever they decide, get back to me. I have also been referred to a dietitian, but it is 4:30 in the afternoon now, and I've just been told that they won't be coming until Monday, so that's not great. And then I also had a speech pathologist come and speak to me as well, but once again they won't be doing any follow-up or doing anything until Monday. So consider it's Friday and there is the weekend that they want me to stay here for, just to wait until Monday to see whatever it is that they decide to do. I don't want to stay. I'm not coping very well with this at all, and I'm actually getting more symptoms and worse symptoms than I get at home. So that definitely should not be the plan with this whole exercise. I pretty much got no sleep last night, and I really don't want to go through Friday, Saturday, Sunday, possibly Monday, another 4 nights without any sleep either, because I don't think that's helping me at all. So I'm just going to give it a little while longer, maybe another 2 hours or so, and then if I'm still not getting anywhere, then basically I'm going to pull the pin and I'm going to discharge myself, and we'll just have to restart this whole little exercise once again, and hopefully have a better plan that doesn't quite traumatise me as much as this one has so far. It turns out I was so symptomatic that day because I had salmonella in my system. No wonder I was feeling so bad and wondering what on earth is going on to my poor body while I was here in hospital. Nobody told me about this though. I only found out when I opened a letter to my doctor that I was meant to give them when I returned home, and there it was. Said I had salmonella. So here we are, day number 3, and I don't quite know how to explain everything because my brain's not quite functioning properly at the moment. But basically, a lot has gone on, yet at the same time, absolutely nothing has gone on. And for the most of it, I am in exactly the same position that I was in when I was here on day 1. So there's been no treatments, no decisions, no anything. So I think once I get home, whenever that will be, I will explain everything properly because yeah, it's not going to happen now. For most of the day, I was just asking to be discharged. Anybody who came near me, I told them, I want to go home. Can I go home? Can I get discharged? But nobody was listening to me. I didn't understand why I was there for days on end with nothing happening. We are at the end of day 3 and guess what? I'm still in hospital. So my grand plans of me basically discharging myself and then wanting to go through outpatients came to a great big flying halt because how it works around here is if you discharge yourself, then that's it. They won't let you go through outpatients, just straight from the ward like this where I am. And I also found out today that pretty much the main reason why I'm here is to see the big head gastroenterologist, the big professor. He wants to have a look at my case because it's so complex. But he's not in until Monday and he won't come in on a weekend. So basically, if I want his help and I want him to see me, then I have no choice, but I have to stay. So I did decide to go with that decision because I thought, well, I've basically done 3 days now, so waiting another 1 day to wait and then see him the next day. But I did manage to convince a doctor and the nurses that for me to stay, I basically wanted day release tomorrow. So eventually they did agree to that, and there's some form that just has to get filled out tomorrow, and I'm allowed to leave off hospital grounds pretty much for as long as I want, as long as I'm back here to be in bed at night, which that's not an issue. I only want a couple of hours. There's a shopping centre across the road, which I've already sneaked across to anyway, so I'll just go there for a much longer time, but we'll see how things go. Over and out. Freedom! So here we are towards the end of day 4, and today has been rather interesting. The doctors did keep to their word and I was allowed out, which was really good and actually turned out to be quite necessary because I've run out of clean clothes since I'm here longer than what they told me that I was going to be. So I had to run over to the shopping centre across the road and frantically try to find some clothes to tie me over until hopefully I am released very soon. So apart from that, it's really been pretty much a non-action day. Nothing happened. They didn't even do any tests on me, and if I didn't manage to get out throughout the day, when I did, I literally would have just been in the hospital all day doing nothing, and even the nurses don't even bother to come and see or check up on me that much because I don't need to do anything for me. So I'm pretty much their favourite patient because I'm just so easy and pretty much look after myself. One thing that was quite interesting this morning was I had to be weighed, which they do quite often. And since I've been here, I've managed to lose 1 kilo, which I don't actually think is the plan of what's meant to be happening. So I have no idea why that happened because I'm actually eating more than I usually do when I'm at home. And when a doctor eventually did come and see me late this afternoon, I asked him about it and he couldn't give me an answer either. So it's all just a bit of a mystery. But tomorrow I get to see the great man, the big professor, head of department, who is meant to be overseeing my case. So after, which will be 5 days of waiting for him to get to me, they've definitely confirmed that he will come and see me, and hopefully he will have some answers, or at least a plan of where we can go to from here. So all I can do is fingers crossed, and after I see him, hopefully be able to go home and get the hell out of here. Last night, which was day 3, when the nurses did a handover about me, I heard one of the nurses tell the other nurse of a diagnosis that had been written on my charts, and I actually got quite upset about this diagnosis. I didn't say anything to the nurses at the time, but I think it was because if this was the case, then no nurses or doctors had even mentioned this certain diagnosis to me. So I didn't sleep that well last night, just because I was a bit stressed about that diagnosis. And then all of today I was really stressed about it as well, and then I was getting really angry. And then eventually, when the doctor did come and see me late this afternoon of day 4, I did mention this to him, and he did explain everything to me about what was written on my chart. Now I will have to go into this a bit more detail, because this probably makes absolutely no sense to anybody with what I'm just rambling on about at the moment, but it is still fresh in my mind. I am still processing everything, and it is yet again another learning curve. So once I've got my head around it all, then I'm sure that I will be able to explain it a whole lot better. So this new diagnosis that I was talking about was anorexia, and boy did I see red. I was so mad. This was a nightmare that I thought might happen, that I'd be categorized as having an eating disorder, as opposed to somebody who wants to eat but has trouble eating. I don't have anorexia, and I did not like that my charts had written on them admitted with anorexia. Later that night, a doctor came to see me, and I asked him about what I had heard. He assured me that the word anorexia is a medical term, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you have an eating disorder. He also assured me that I was not being treated as though I had anorexia, and this was not something that they were looking into. So here we are, day 5, and guess what? I'm still here with no chance of going home in the near horizon. So today was the day that I had been waiting these long 5 days for, to see the big head man of the gastroenterology department, who was the main reason that I was coming here in the first place. And basically, after all of that waiting, it wasn't worth it. Not one little bit, because I still don't have any answers. And he seems to have been going backwards by going over things and repeating things and wanting to do more tests on things that my own gastroenterologist has already done. So he's changed a few things around for me, and then what he needs to do now is go and get all of the records off my gastroenterologist, all of my not rheumatoid, oh my goodness, I can't even talk anymore, all of my rheumatology records from the other hospital, and then all of the records from the dietitian that I have been seeing. Why he couldn't have done that in these 5 days, or even before I got here, so he had all of the information ready for him and then he could meet me and then go from there, I don't know. So basically it's a really big waste of time. So he did say that he hoped to get all the information by 5 o'clock today, and then I would be able to go home. But right now it is 10 to 6 and I haven't seen him at all. My own gastroenterologist came and saw me late this afternoon, and sort of explained what was going on, and I basically said, I want to go home, this is ridiculous, I don't want to just be sitting here waiting for someone to make a decision when I could be at home, and then someone could just call me and tell me either what I need to do, what the follow-up will be, or if I will be getting surgery. But apparently it doesn't work like that, and he said that I could be here for another 2 to 3 days. To which I told my gastroenterologist, no way, I want out now, and I don't even care if I can't get a lift home tonight. If they will release me, I will quite happily go to a hotel across the road and just stay at the hotel until somebody can come and get me. So he was actually seemed a little bit shocked that I was willing to go to those extremes to get out of here. Anyway, he said that he'd try and follow up and get back to me as well today, but I don't hold out much hope for that at all. And then after I saw the big gastro man, all of a sudden I had this man in my room who was an orderly, I would presume, just packing up all of my stuff, and I'm like, what is going on here? And then my nurse came in and said, oh, you need to be in an isolated room because some of your symptoms are like gastro. So basically I've been put into a room by myself, and whenever anyone comes in here they have to be in their full protective equipment. It looks ridiculous because there's nothing wrong with me. I don't have gastro, and all of the symptoms that I was talking about I've had for years, so I don't think that gastro lasts for that long. Anyway, here I am just in my room by myself. At least in this room I can close the door so it's not as noisy, but it is closer to the nurses' station, so hopefully they're not too noisy and chatty overnight and I can actually get some sleep. But until then, and pretty much for now, I'm just hanging here being really bored all by myself, just waiting. Oh, but I also did have another dietitian come and see me. She was really good. The first one that I saw wasn't that great, and because it was on the day that I said that I was leaving, pretty much after our conversation she said just follow up with my own dietitian and discharged me. So anyway, I've got a new dietitian now who seemed to be very good, and she is going to give me some supplements, which that's okay. That's what I've been on before all of this anyway, so that's no problem at all. But I really was quite surprised that I've got this far, day 5, and now there's just going to be the introduction of supplements. I would have thought that I would have been on them from day 1, but nope, obviously not. Anyway, that's about me for my little videoing from my bed. I'm sure that I'll give a bit more of an update on exactly how things were when I edit and do this video properly. But this is all for now. See you later. Thank you for watching, and please stay tuned to part 2 of this story. Don't forget to subscribe.